Nuwan Javathana, over to you, please.
Thank you, Professor. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to everyone on behalf of CFA Society Sri Lanka. Again, a big thank you to the Professor and the University of Jaffna for collaborating with the CFA Society Sri Lanka to have this event today. The collaborations like this, I think, is very, very important in terms of producing a talent, which is future proof. The professional, side of education and the academic side of education needs to, work together to bring the best out of students, and our efforts are basically, towards that end. In terms of the topic, as Professor correctly mentioned, none of us, I don't think, are sort of, are new to AI today. I'm sure each one of you, uses AI some form or the other, and to be, correct. AI has been there for much longer period than we sort of understand. I'm sure in Mr. Travis's presentation later, he will touch on how this evolution actually took place as well. The question today is no longer whether AI is going to impact our careers, impact our life for that matter. It is all about how we uh, learn to work alongside it to make our future better, our opportunities more prosperous. It is it's not perfect to say work alongside AI. I think the world is moving towards more AI native opportunities, especially in the research side of things. Until maybe very recently, we were thinking about using AI to augment or support the work that the human does. But now it's more about how products, how do we re-engineer them with AI as the core of the the delivery or the machinery. So it has become that important, and it is it is absolutely timely that we have sessions like this, so the the students as well as the lecturers understand how important, and how best we can sort of incorporate AI into our day-to-day activities. In terms of the CFA institute and the qualification itself, institute understands CFA as one of the most prominent changes that's happening in the world today, and as a qualification that is absolutely dynamic in terms of maintaining it curriculum, has incorporated these AI elements into the CFA qualification as well, in terms of how you carry out investment research, portfolio management, risk management, data analytics. You will, the institute has already acknowledged the importance and incorporated some of these AI elements into it. Um, what is very, very important from, from our point of view, future professionals, future financial professionals maybe, is that we need to remember that, AI is not going to replace us. What will happen is somebody with better AI capabilities is more likely to replace us than AI. So it is important that we become that individual who's AI capable. So that's the message that I would like to leave everyone with in listening to Travis's presentation. So without further ado, let me invite Travis. Probably hand it back to Professor Vijay Kumaran to do the introduction about Travis, and then hand it over. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nuwan. Now let me introduce our resource person for this today's session, Travis Gomez, CFA, He's an associate director at Userbase International Company, where he contributes from the Sri Lankan office as part of the SPIDA H, leading research initiatives across emerging industries such as AI and robotics. As a CFA charter holder, his career reflects a strong foundation in investment research, analytical rigor, and global professional standards. He previously led the custom research functions for SPIDA H, Usabate's emerging technology research platform, and prior to that, managed the curation and sector research team at Frontier Research Private Limited. Travis is also a senior visiting lecturer at the Royal Institute of Colombo, where he delivers lectures in economics and finance. He also serves as a visiting lecturer at Alpha Business School, conducting preparatory sessions for CFA program. He is a director of CFA Society Sri Lanka and currently chairs the Research Challenge Committee. In 2022, he became the first Sri Lankan CFA charter holder to receive the CFA Institute Outstanding Young Leader Award. Thank you. Over to you, Travis.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much, Professor, for that introduction. And thank you, everyone who is on the call and for joining us at this time. So let me just jump straight into the topic. So today's topic is on AI for early adopters. So like Nuan mentioned, now when it comes to the workplace, AI, it's like a foregone conclusion that anyone who is entering the workplace, a couple of decades back, if you were entering as like a finance professional, the sort of skills that people were expecting were expecting you to have when you join the workforce was like, things like Excel skills or word skills or like analytical skills. Now, AI is also going to be like a core part of that prerequisite that, people are going to expect your next time, when you apply for your first jobs, the employers are going to expect you to know how to use AI in an effective manner. So the way I've sort of like structured this presentation is you're now at being at university. That is like an ideal place where you can really start, testing out some of these AI tools that are out there. And the good thing is many of these are freely available. There's a wide variety of tools to choose from. And what I want to sort of like leave you with here in terms of my message is that this is a good place for you to experiment and try out some of these AI tools to help you with your own studies. And what I want to sort of show is that how to use that in an effective manner. Because right now there's a lot of debates and a lot of like concerns about when it comes to the use of AI for education. There's a lot of worries, that students are using AI to like do their assignments and things like that. And there's a lot of anxiety around it. And as a result of that, maybe students are not fully learning what they should be doing. So I have also like observed this directly as Professor mentioned. I'm also like a part-time lecturer, so I've seen how students are using AI as well, and I see there's a lot of like pros and cons to it. And I really want to emphasize today like how you can use it in a ethical and an optimal manner where it will enhance your studies rather than it being a detriment to the learning that you're doing. So by the time you come out of university, you have a very good grasp of like how to use AI tools to go about your work efficiently, to become more productive, and then those same skills are things you can take forward when you join the workplace as well. So that is the broad outline of what I want to cover today. I believe you all should be able to see my presentation as well. So let me just jump right into it. So broadly, this is what I want to cover today, just to give you an overview of how AI can be used in the context of education. What are some of the pitfalls, or what are some of the the correct ways and the incorrect ways of using it, and how to provide you with sort of like a framework to help you decide when is it appropriate for you to use AI, and that it can actually help you enhance your studies. I want to create like a framework for that. And then in the second part of it, I just want to like review some of those key AI tools that you can start experimenting with. And like I said, a lot of these tools that I'll be highlighting are also tools that you'll be like carrying with you to your workplace as well. So I want to show you specifically in the context of where you can use AI to enhance your studies. What are some of those key use cases for those, and how to effectively make use of those. So first of all, in the fundamental question that we're now facing, and like I said, a big anxiety when it comes to AI in the context of education is, there's a big, the anxiety is whether, if, the lecturer sets like an assignment for you, um, or gets you some work to do, the question that on everyone's mind is that, did you use AI? And most of the time the answer is yes. Most students are now using AI. And I think like similar to at the workplace, where it's a foregone conclusion that we are expecting employers to use AI to enhance their work. Similarly, when it comes to learning as well, we know that students are using AI. But now the question is, how do you and the data also kind of like shows that globally this is the case. Many of the students are actively using AI for their studies. However, there are some legitimate concerns as well, where students have been using AI, but not in the most appropriate manner. And as a result, that can be to the detriment of the sort of studies that you are doing. Yeah. And this is I want to highlight some of those research and some of the pitfalls that can take place because of this. So one key concern, of course, is that students are increasingly, they are heavily reliant on AI to do their thinking even. When it comes to like, say, if you've been set some sort of assignment or you need to work through some like problem set, you have some cases where students are immediately turning to AI without even like taking for a moment to think through the problem and frame that question properly. They're very much sort of like offloading their own thinking to this kind of AI uh, tools. And really, that is where I think the heart of where the problem is. Because by doing that, what might happen is that on the face of it, this might be an easy way for you to like, to do those problem sets, do those assignments. But what is the actual learning that you're getting out of it? Yeah. And because if you really look at the things that these AI technologies are really good at doing, what they are good at doing is to do a lot of process automation. So things that are very repetitive, things where it doesn't require a lot of thinking. Those are the sort of tasks that AI is really good at doing. Yeah. And but when it comes to but using those tools to like take away your to like do those assignments, do those problem sets, it's not going to help you learn faster. Yeah, because offloading those things to AI, it's not going to help you learn things faster. So that is where the problem lies. So there's this interesting study which has done the difference between using AI when a teacher uses AI or a lecturer uses AI versus when a student uses. Now, when a lecturer is using AI, they are using it, they are coming from the context where they already are an expert on the subject. So they know, if they ask AI to do something, like, to like improve like a presentation document they've done, or to prepare some sort of sample questions, or to prepare like a quiz or something for the students, they already have that sort of like the fundamental knowledge about the subject, so that they are able to correctly review and see whether, has this they are able to correctly vet the output that the AI is giving. But the problem is when the student kind of uses it for the same thing, because the student is still in the process of learning those tools. So you don't, the student may not fully grasp or fully understand those topics. So just because you use AI, that doesn't like speed up your learning. So that is where the fundamental danger lies. And some of the studies are still ongoing, but they found some quite disturbing things that have been going on, where they found that, in some universities, they found that, some students have been arriving to college even not being able to properly read, even though you're doing, say, like an arts program or a literature program. There's a lot of some of these like very alarming headlines that you might have seen. And there are some like studies that have also been done that, students who are like over relying on AI, this has been a problem. Yeah. So these are some of the pitfalls of like not using AI in the correct manner, where it would be to your detriment in the long term, because your time at university is the time where you are going to learn some of those core foundational knowledge that you will need for your later workplace. So like Nuwan said, now the way the workplace is evolving is where AI is now increasingly becoming the core part of the work that you're doing. And increasingly, a research, say, for example, a research analyst role is now evolving from where the analyst is kind of like, starting from scratch doing like the research work, towards a role where the AI does the initial work, and the researcher's role is to sort of vet and verify that output and then improve on that initial bit of work that the AI produces. So, but to be able to do that, you need a very strong understanding of that subject matter. Say, for example, if you're doing like a financial valuation of a company, you need to have a very strong grounding of the, say, like discounted cash flow valuation or whatever uh, uh, the different valuation methodologies. You need to have a very strong understanding of that, and only then would you be able to then critique the output that AI is giving. So developing those foundational knowledge is what is critical. So those are some of the dangers of using AI in an inappropriate manner. In the next sections, I'll come to like what is the appropriate way, therefore, in which you can use it to enhance your studies. So this is one issue, that because you're over relying on AI, it can like inhibit your own learning. The other thing that is now coming up is when it comes to the skepticism about the students' performance, because now what has happened is, increasingly with students using AI for things like assignments and like completing problem sets and things like that, some of the universities have now been grappling with this problem of where there's been this grade point, there's this inflation in the grades that have been happening, and as a result, the results that students are getting are becoming more suspect. You can't really trust whether, on paper it looks like the student has done really well at the exams and things like that. But when you actually like test them on like the knowledge that they have gained from it, it's a bit more like harder to see. It's not really reflective of the scores that they have got on the exam. We observe similar things happening in the workplace as well. For example, when we have like when we have like interviews with prospective candidates, sometimes there's a big disconnect between, say, when they have been given, like, say, an assignment for them to complete as part of their like interview process, and then when they come to the final interview, when they have to like speak about their work, when they have to when they have to like defend their the report they have produced, they kind of like there's a big gap between what they submit as the assignment and the actual and when it comes to that final presentation, which clearly shows that they've been like maybe over reliant on like using AI to do that work, and they haven't really fully grasped the matter. So that is another concern that is there, where increasingly employers will be very skeptical of the kind of the good results that you will be showing. So because of that, some of the universities are also now responding to this, in terms of they've also now been re-looking at some of their testing methodologies. So actually now what has been happening is that some universities that previously was like, that was primarily, testing through things like assignments or dissertations, are now going to have sort of like a more like, they're very much looking at, changing their like testing structure, so that we can, for example, they would have like an oral component to that assessment, so that we can directly test whether the student has been like actually understood this material. And here the slide I put before you here is this this was like a blog that was written by Rob Langrick. So he's a CFA charter holder and like one of the he's a member. He's a leader at the CFA Institute when it comes to the program, the CFA program. And this was like a post that he did about a month or two back, where he was highlighting about the difference between the Harvard average undergraduate GPA, how that has been increasing over time. And particularly now, this is in the context where there's been a lot of concern where, this grade point inflation is happening because students are using AI, versus if you compare it against the CFA program pass rates. So it has been fairly stable in recent years. If you look at the most recent years, it's been fairly similar. And that sort of like he's using this to illustrate the point that a program like the CFA program, it has a very rigorous testing policy. It is a because it's an invigilated exam. It's very clear that when a when a candidate passes the CFA exam and becomes a charter holder, there is that assurance that it is the charter holder's own work that has got them to that position, given the way the exam is being tested. It's very rigorous. It's very time sensitive, and therefore it's very clear that it is the candidate's own performance that has got them to this position. So because of that, programs like the CFA program also which have these very rigorous testing methodologies are also increasingly going to become valuable in the future, in the context where AI is very prevalent. So that's something also to keep in mind. Uh, when going into the workplace, that you can't rely, unlike in the past, maybe you can't rely purely on your great results to land you that job, because in this context of where AI is also prevalent. But at the same time, as Nuwan said, AI is very much an essential tool for the workplace. So very much employers are also expecting you to know how to make use of AI to do your day-to-day work. So as I said, this is a good opportunity at university to develop some of those AI skills, while at the same time helping you to enhance your studies. And yeah, and just to illustrate that point, I've shown here some of the studies that have been done by the CFA Institute, where this is like a survey that is done for recent graduates in this graduate outlook survey about like what their expectations are about about their job prospects. And one thing is very much the graduates are worried about this AI and automation, whether it would make things more challenging to secure a job. And there is some of the surveys do reveal that people are more anxious of this. But really, what they're highlighting as the response, as the answer to this, is basically to improve your AI skills. And so this is another. So at the same time, while they are concerned about AI and automation, the new graduates are also very confident in the ability to use these AI tools. So you want to make sure that you are also going to be in that camp, that when you apply for your first job, you are well versed in how to use AI for the particular job role that you're going into. So now the fundamental question is how you should and how you should not be using AI in the context of using AI to enhance your education. So this is one of the studies how they sort of frame how students are using AI. The appropriate way to use AI is what they are terming using AI as what they call instrumental help, where you use AI to clarify your concepts and to build skills and to support that independent learning. For instance, in the past, like say if you've done you've done like after a lecture, maybe going through your notes, you might have some questions that you want to answer. And in the past, how you would do this is maybe you would then go to the library, look at some textbooks, go read through some journals. You would speak with your lecturer, or discuss with your fellow students. and build that understanding. So of course those are still very relevant, but when those are not available, you can also turn to AI as another support tool, where you can question that AI. You can ask for clarifying to clarify concepts. You might have done say like an essay, and you want to critique it, or maybe you have to prepare for some speech that you have to give. You can use AI to give you feedback. It's like a personalized coach that you have access to. So that is the appropriate way that you need to be using AI, because that is the way you can learn. Use AI sort of like as a personal teacher or a personal coach that you have, and also to to bounce off ideas, to brainstorm. Those are some of the ways that you can use it. However, the way you should not be using it is what they call executive help, where you're just using it, say, the moment you are given an assignment, or a student, or a problem set or something. You immediately just delegate the problem to AI. You just ask AI to do the work for you, and okay, you might get a nice output out of it, but it may it's not going to further your learning in any way. Yeah. So that is the inappropriate way you would be using AI. So that's very much something that you should avoid. So just to summarize, these are therefore some of the ways you can use it and what you should not be using it for. So you can very much use it for helping you understand things. It's also really good at practicing. So as I said, one area that AI is really good at is if you give it something to do, something very process oriented, something very straightforward to understand, it can do that for you. It can very quickly do those do some of do, you can it can automate some of those more procedural operational tasks that you'd have when it comes to learning. For example, making summary notes, or you want to come up with some practice questions, or you want to create some flashcards so that you can you can study on the go and things like that. AI would do a really good job at doing those kind of things, those more operational process oriented tasks. So that is a key thing that you can use AI for, also to to brainstorm, and like I said, to explain things. But don't use it to basically do the work for you. Yeah. So yeah, like I explained, so this is how you can sort of imagine how AI should be. You should think of AI as sort of your personal trainer, where it is kind of giving you advice, or telling you how to correct your technique, how to improve your learning, by giving you feedback, by critiquing the work that you have done, by helping out when required, but not have the AI do the heavy lifting for you, because that's not going to lead to any learning. So this is kind of how you can sort of imagine how AI should play a role here. Yeah. So before you immediately jump to using AI, these are the kind of things you need to also look at. So one is, in the context of university, you need to see, am I allowed? Does the lecturer allow you to use AI? Or does this if there's a particular exam or a assignment that has been set, are you allowed to use AI or not? So that's something to check. And now many of the so in many workplaces now, there is an AI policy around what are the situations where you can use AI. What are some say the sensitive areas where you should not be using it. Say in the context of if there's some sensitive client data and things like that. There are certain guidelines and rules that you can use that. Similarly, when it comes to education, also many universities are now thinking about having particular AI laws or AI frameworks in place for where you can use this or not. And so it's very similar to most universities already have frameworks in place when it comes to things like plagiarism. So when it comes to AI also, it's very similar to that. In most universities, that's something that they would check for, and it's something that you should be mindful of, that you don't plagiarize any work, don't violate any copyright rules. So in a very similar manner, there are some laws or rules that will be coming into place when it comes to the use of AI. So you first need to check whether are you allowed to use AI. Particularly this is particularly relevant when it comes to assignments and things like that. Whether can you use AI to enhance that the work that you're doing. So that's one thing to check. Of course, if you're using AI to prepare your own notes, to do summaries, of your notes and things like that is to enhance your own learning, then of course there's no issue with that. Of course, one key thing to also worry about, to be careful of, I think I come to that in the next slide, is not to fall foul of things like copyright laws and things like that, because say you might be like uploading sensitive material to these AI systems. So that's something you need to check and be mindful of. Then the other thing is uh, you need to consider the second one. Is this a skill that is being tested? If it is something being tested, then you shouldn't be relying on AI to use that. So for example, if you have to say prepare for an upcoming exam and the exam expects you to say know the formula for say free cash flow to valuation or something like that, then you need to learn the formula on your own. It's not, if that is something being tested, there's no point in you getting AI to do that problem for you. you know Whereas if it's something where the focus is more like analytics, or like your it's on where you can interpret information and things like that, then you need to see what is the skill that is being tested, and based on that use AI appropriately. So that's the second thing you need to be mindful of. And the last thing is, can I verify the output? So this is very critical, particularly if it's more like an as if it's more like a dissertation or more like an essay based test that you need to do, where you need to back up your findings with like sources and evidence. You need to be mindful of any output that AI is doing, because to a great extent now AI has come a long way where it doesn't hallucinate as often, but still even as researchers, we come across there's a lot of situations where the AI is kind of like sometimes making stuff up, or it's not properly, or it doesn't follow like a logical flow, and the evidence that it's presenting as evidence, when you look at it critically, is not actually supportive of that. So you need to always verify. If you're using AI to generate or to create some content, you need to always double check whether is that appropriate or not. Yeah. So I think I already touched on this, that to be one key area you need to be mindful of is, not falling foul of any copyright laws or like plagiarism and things like that. Because, for example, you might be like uploading, say, your lecturer's notes or like, some textbook, extract from textbooks or like journals and things like that. You need to check whether, is that data going to go out of the system? Is it going to be, are those information going to be used to train AI models and things like that? So you need to be careful, and you need to be vigilant of what are the terms and policies of those particular AI models that are being used. Yep. So that's a key thing to keep in mind. The other thing, of course, like I said, is about academic integrity. So where you're using AI directly into things like assignments or like dissertations, that in similar to how right now, if you submit some work that has been plagiarized, then that is grounds for like dismissal of that the work that you're submitting would be invalidated. So similar thing might have go when it comes to, if you're submitting something purely based on like AI generated work, then that might be grounds for like misconduct. So you need to be make sure that if you're using AI to like when it comes to like when it comes to like an assignment or a dissertation or something like that, where it's directly going to that final output, what you're producing, you need to be mindful whether does it violate any of like the university terms when it comes to the testing policies. And like I said, you also need to be very mindful of these AI systems can hallucinate. It can give you false results. So you need to be mindful of that and always verify. So you should never like, even that's the case when it comes to the workplace as well. AI might do a really good, they might do like a first draft of say some particular topic that you're researching, but you need to check everything because it's not 100% correct, and that's where you as an analyst can then add value to make that content better. Same thing goes when it comes to you as a student as well. AI can help you like maybe to learn faster, or to like by automating some of the more process oriented tasks. It can help you deepen your understanding on certain topics, but still for all you need to you can't take the output that AI is producing as its face. You need to always verify and double check whatever work it is coming up with. So with that framework, I just want to showcase a few sort of like areas where you can start using AI in an appropriate manner to enhance your studies. So these are some broad areas. I won't be going into detail into each of them, but this is just to give you like a snapshot of these are the available tools that are out there that you can then start trying out for yourself and find what works best for you. And as I said, a lot of those same tools are going to be very helpful when you come to the workplace as well. So broadly, these are some of the key areas where you can use AI in your study routine to help you, to go about your studies in a more efficient manner. So one really useful thing that AI is very good at doing is summarizing. So if you have any lecture notes, if you have any uh, if say you have like missed some lecture and you aren't able to attend a lecture and you want to catch up with that, you can give AI the lecture notes and it can like explain things to you. If there are things about it that you're not clear, it can explain things to you. Or if you have like a big lecture notes, you want to create like a summary notes to help you when it comes to your revision and things like that, it's really good at doing that. The other thing is when it comes to testing. So you can like give like your lecture notes or a textbook and ask you to come up with like practice questions, or to create like things like flashcards or like mind maps, things that can help you as study aids to help you better prepare for exam. Other thing is that if you're doing sort of more um, if you're doing like subjects where it requires you to do some like deep research and things like that, AI is kind of like the new sort of like the Google search. You can use AI to like search for new information, dive deep into a particular topic, and uncover hidden sources and things like that. It's really good like informational search source. Another very useful thing in the context, specifically in the context of education, is it's available as a personal coach. So currently you would be, now your main source of, say, if you run into a problem and you're not sure, about the answer for something, currently the tools you have available is that, that might mean that you need to go to the library, look through a textbook, or you need to ask like a colleague, or you need to like speak to your lecturer before or after the lecture. But the thing which are also like very good sources, of course, but there the limitation is, of course, they are not always available. And if you want something that is there 24/7, so when those sources are not available, then AI is there to, because they are like available 24/7. They can like adjust their, in terms of the responses that AI gives you. You can tailor it to your particular like level of understanding. You can do it in a style that is like very that works well with you. You can tailor it. You can customize the learning to your particular preferences. So that is one of the core areas where it can really enhance your studies. And finally, another support tool you can use is there are also some various tools, not necessarily AI, but now they have also been enhanced with AI to, doing things like, transcribing lectures, creating like study plans, having like this work management system to like, come up with like a study schedule. So those are some of the areas you can use AI for. So in all of these cases, one of the important skills you need to have, because I think probably you all are all familiar when you say AI, probably the first thing your mind goes to is things like ChatGPT, where you have that's like a chatbot uh, assistant type of system that you have, where you basically type in and ask questions from it. So you're probably familiar already with this term of prompt engineering. So for you to get a good output, for you to get something that is actually helpful and useful, you need to basically master this technique of prompt engineering, where you need to explain to the AI system what is your exact requirement, what is the context in which you're asking this question. And that can then really help enhance the kind of result that you're getting. Because if you just ask a very general question, you just ask, what is inflation or something like that, or what is interest rates, you're going to get a very bland and not a very targeted answer. But the more you can cater it to the particular level of understanding you need, what exactly are you asking for, then about like asking for sources, asking the format in which you want to give that information, is going to really enhance that output. So this is just an illustration of that. So if you look, so these are like some of the steps These are the aspects that you need to consider when you're designing a very good prompt. These are the things you need to think about when you're doing that. And this is just to give you an example of like what it looks like. Yeah. This is a weak prompt versus what a strong prompt would look like. So that is a core skill that you need to sort of master. And that is when it comes to the workplace as well. If you're doing like a research role, this is extremely important because how useful AI is going to be is, how you sort of like instruct it. The way you prompt it is how you can maximize the use of it. And so this is something you will develop as you sort of like go through the program, as you sort of like experiment with AI. You will find the best ways to sort of like get it to give out results that are most appropriate and helpful for your work. Yeah. So, like I said, just to quickly illustrate some of the different use cases that I said. So, one key thing is the summary notes and like document chat. So, like I said, you can upload like your lecture slides or some notes that you have, and you can create like summary notes, and you can create it in the exact way that you want. For example, if you're someone who likes, everything in like a bullet point form, or if you like things that are like in flashcards, that you can, then on the go, you can like use them to study or things like that, or you want to create like a formula sheet or things like that, it can prepare it in the exact format that you want. Yeah. And one thing is to one thing with using these tools, of course, is to be mindful of when it comes to falling foul of like copyright laws and things like that. Because say if you're like uploading like your lecture notes or like textbooks or journals to these platforms, you need to be mindful of is that data going out of your system? Is it going to be used to like train those AI models? So you need to be careful. Look at the settings that you that for that particular AI system, and adjust those accordingly to avoid those kind of issues. Yeah. Another very useful thing is like there are these tools called like document chat as well. So if you take, there are these tools here that I've mentioned a few of them here. So there is this tool called Explain Paper. So in that, what you can do is say if you have a journal article, you can add the journal article, you can upload the journal article, and then when you're reading through the journal, if there's any points in the journal where you're not clear on, you can just highlight those texts, and it will basically then explain in an easy to understand manner what that means. So that is a very useful thing you can do. Another very powerful tool I want to highlight, which is very ideal for like education related purpose, is this Notebook LM by Google. So that in that system, you can basically like upload like notes or like things like that, and you can then play around with that content in so many different ways. You can create like summary notes. You can create like say like a visualization, like a mind map. You can even like create like a podcast of like you just give it the lecture notes, and it'll create like a sort of like a podcast where two people are like discussing the topic. So there's some really interesting ways you can use it to create like very engaging sort of ways you can learn a topic, which is suited to your style of learning. So that's a core use of AI. Another one, like I said, is when it comes to quiz questions. So you can use it to create like a study pack of like revision questions and things like that. So you can give it samples of, these are what the typical exam questions look like. You can, use it to like to enhance your revision by, creating those like MCQ style or like essay type or whatever the type of questions that you want. Yeah. And one thing, of course, with this is that, it's not just about doing questions, it's about making sure that you understand those properly. Yeah. So you can, like, say, if you're doing like an MCQ, make sure, you can like prompt the AI in such a way that, it won't immediately give the answer. Say, for example, you like the prompt I have given you here, you can, basically you can ask it to give you a question, and, only the AI will only respond if you give an answer, and if you don't give an answer, it won't give you the answer. So it's very much trying to test you. So it's like, in the same way like a lecturer would like try to like prompt you to like try to find the answer for yourselves. You can sort of like you can sort of prompt AI in that way, so that instead of giving you the answer immediately, it helps you to think through the problem, try to solve it on your own, and then only if you're really stuck, you can then get the AI to answer. Or like even if you give the answer, it can like explain or like to critique your like responses that you're giving. You can even use this, like, say, like if you have written like an essay or you prepared for a speech and you need to and you want it to give you feedback, you can just upload your like essay, or you can like say tell your you can like record, or you can and you can speak out your speech to the AI system and ask it to give you feedback on how to improve. So those are some of the ways you can use it for directly for like exam prep. And like I said, this is a common, another common one you can use, which is the information search. So there are different tools that you can use. So, things like Perplexity or like Claude or like Gemini have like different tools you can use for information search. And particularly if you're going into like a research role, this is a key thing that that AI is being used for, to like for that information search and for to do some of that initial bit of research work. One thing to be mindful of with that is to beware of any synthetic or unverified sources, because that's something that is now coming up more often. So that is where your analyst judgment can come in. So similarly, when it comes to education, when you're using this for studies as well, if you're doing like a dissertation and all, you need to cite particular journals, particular studies. So, so AI might give you a whole lot of sources. It's up to you to then verify them and figure out what are the appropriate ones, what are the ones that are suitable, that are best fitting to this situation, whether the conclusion that AI are drawing, is that correct, is that appropriate. So that's how you can use it for that. And another key one I mentioned was this personal education coach, where you can, get it to like test you on different things. It can, you can even use it to like create like a study plan, and like it can even give you like periodic reminders to study and things like that. So very much think of it like a personal education coach that can help you to like, who is always available to like explain things to you. So this is a key one that you can a key use case for when it comes to education purpose. And finally, the last one, like I said, so these are not exactly like AI, but there are these tools that you can use to like which supplement your studies. For example, if there's an audio transcription, say if you're listening to a lecture, you want to get an audio transcript of the thing, or like you're listening to like a webinar, something like that, you can use these Auto AI or Audio Pen, or even here like on Zoom, you have like a Zoom's like own transcription system, where some people might prefer to like, instead of listening to a lecture, might want to like read through it, so you can use this transcription tools to use. And now those tools have also now been enhanced with AI, that can do a really good job at like summarizing those information. Similarly, if you're doing an essay, you have tools like Grammarly that can like correct your grammar, suggest improvements. Those are tools like that. Same thing with like document management, where if you want to manage all your notes that you have and to quickly search for them, find the information, you have these tools. Same with task management. If you want to create like a study plan, make sure you're on track, you have tools like Asana or like ClickUp to do this. So those are all the different tools that you can choose from. So like I said, this is the ideal time where you can experiment with these different tools and come up with and find what is the tools that work best for you. And yeah, and finally, to conclude, I just want to leave you with, as Nuwan also said, like AI is like now a foregone conclusion that people are using AI in the workplace. So similarly, when it comes to education as well, you should be using AI to enhance your studies. But you have to use it in the appropriate manner so that it doesn't sort of like become a detriment to your own learning. So very much see it as a supplement to your studies, not a replacement, where it can help you to enhance and optimize the way you learn. And by identifying where is it where AI can add the most values, as I said, prompt engineering is a key tool, is a key skill you'll be learning as you sort of like use AI more and more, and really find what is the ideal fit, because there's a whole lot of tools that are out there. So find what works best for you, for your style, for your budget, etc. And of course, don't compromise on your own personal learning by using these, by over relying on these tools. So yeah, so that is the message I want to leave you with that. And yeah, if we have a few minutes, I'm also happy to answer any questions you might have on the topic. And yeah, I hope you found this useful, and thanks everyone for listening in. Hi, Professor. Yeah, if we have any time, I can happy to take any questions if there is any. If not,
Yeah.
I'm also happy to share the presentation with the students. They can they can go through it and then use it for their learning as well.
Any questions, please? I think everything is clear. They don't have any questions.
Yeah, all good then, Professor.
Okay,
Yeah, so thanks everyone for joining in today, and yeah, hope it was helpful, and would be happy to share the presentation with you as well if that would be helpful. Yeah, and thank you so much, Professor, for having us here today.
Once again, thank you very much, Travis Commerce, sharing valuable, insightful information about AI and its application. And I would also like to thank sorry. Yeah, thank you very much, Travis Thomas, for sharing very insightful, valuable thoughts on AI and its applications. I would also like to thank CFA President, CFA Society President, Rashmi Piris, and CFA Society CEO Aruna Alvis, and Nuwan Jawatana, the Director and Chair, University Outreach Committee, for helping us to organize this information session. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much again, Professor. And yeah, hope everyone has a good day then. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We can wind up now. Thank you.